welcome back to the Brotato Capital podcast. Tonight I'm joined by 1L and Swiss. Sticks is currently AFK, as you can see by his grumpy little bear, but he'll be joining us a little later on, I believe.
And so is Z.
Is Z joining us as well?
No, he's also the grumpy little AFK bear. That's just the new symbol.
Okay. Wonderful. That's just everyone gets a grumpy Sticks AFK. No, Z's currently training for an Ironman, so he's getting some much needed rest. But yeah, gentlemen, how are we?
Yeah,
Doing good.
Pretty good.
Fuck
I
yeah.
am pretty stoked about the repeated call on this fucking full moon bullshit, and it worked again. So it's good to see some green markets after last week's little mishap.
You'll have to bring out the moon chart at some point this evening, because you can't keep getting away with it, really. It is getting silly. You're like, nah, dude, trust me, full moon's coming. And then sure enough, price action follows. It's like, fuck's sake, this can't work, but it is.
Yeah, every damn time. But nah.
Literally, I think like every month for the past like 4-5 months, you've been like, yeah, don't worry, man. Moon cycles. And then sure enough, fuck's sake.
It's fucking so stupid.
But it works, dude.
It does,
the more that there's that meme somewhere of like the ancient Roman guy being like, my king, the moon does not smile upon going to war. We should wait another month. And then it's like, okay. And I just think that's the perfect vector to kind of consume astrology content, from the idea that it's like, the ancients did it, therefore it's cool. But if a chick with like bangs and tattoos was like, hey, believe in astrology, I'd be like, nah, maybe not.
Yeah. Well, Paul Tudor Jones, back in his day, there's a quote that floats around from him that says, millionaires don't have astrologists, but billionaires do. So, even he was a moon cycle trader back in the heyday.
I feel like it's good to have like a superstition base to kind of justify a bit of risk profile as well. Like just purely as like a fun matter of like, fuck it. Like you've got all your rational things and your signals. It's just nice to have a base of like, what if?
Well, like I tweeted today that like CT is like the ultimate like manifestation, like because like every ticker that like we have, like we just chant out these like random price targets for these coins, and they all sort of like manifest. And like when you put it in like some sort of context as to like what sort of a value is being attributed to these things, like what's like Coinbase's market cap now, like the Coinbase stock market cap.
So $61.9 billion.
So $61 billion, right? So like Coinbase, the exchange, if you went to CoinGecko, would be, let's have a look. I'll do screen share. Yeah, so 69 billion. So like Bitcoin's a $1 trillion asset. So Coinbase would be, based on if market cap, would be number 6, basically. It would come after Solana. So like Solana, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Bitcoin. It's like right up there. So it's probably not as bad anymore, but Coinbase used to be like lower than fucking Dogecoin in terms of market cap. So like,
these like 15 or something.
Like stocks are like way undervalued compared to some of these coins. Like, can't tell me that like the value of Dogecoin is like 1/3 of Coinbase stock. Like, it's just fucking, it's crazy. So but yeah, like ultimately,
I hadn't actually thought of like the TradFi aspect in relation to crypto market caps. That's a indictment on me. But holy shit, Coinbase trading under Doge. Yeah, that's just the ultimate. Like, hey, you should probably buy this.
Yeah,
exactly. Signal.
But like we just manifest these like prices to happen. Like it's just crazy. So like to not have some level of superstition, I think you need to dream bigger. And having that sort of mindset, I think, helps. But
respect the rock, man.
Respect the rock. for sure.
That's it. All right,
Cool.
guys. Do we want to kick things off with a little discussion about what everyone's already talking about, but get stuck into Solana memes?
Yeah.
I think it's probably poignant that we address the kind of racist Solana meta and all the. I don't know. I feel like we can't.
I
we
feel like
can't
Swiss
run
is
an
the
episode.
expert on this one.
Why am I the expert on this?
Yeah, Swiss. Come on, man. Open up. No, we're throwing him under the bus. I don't think any of us are experts on the
No.
racist Solana meta.
Swiss has
I think we've
definitely
all
not been partaking on this.
done ourselves a favor and avoided the shit. But I do just
Yeah.
feel like, I don't know, it's kind of that just race to the bottom of attention of like, fuck it, we'll make the thing that is just the most antagonistic shit and see if we can get some clicks and some bids.
Yeah, I did think like it did bring up some interesting discussion points though around like kind of like what the fuck we're doing here. So like the whole purpose of like half this shit, right, is like decentralization, it's freedom to transact, you know, all of that. But then like some of the discussion points that like manifested out of these tokens being created was like full on censorship of like the chain. Like, should we do something on the chain to like prevent these things from happening? And then Dex Screener came out like, you know, much after the N-word tokens came out, and then it was like the Jew tokens, and then that was
The
like
N-word tokens?
yeah. That was the first meta.
What does the N stand for? Like,
Hey, feel like this
Guys.
is a setup.
Guys, let's behave.
Anyway, Swiss is getting revenge on me from before. But yeah, like a lot came out, which kind of surprised me because like whilst I disapprove of, you know, the fact that, you know, people are doing this, I don't disapprove of the freedom of them to be able to do it. And I feel like the spotlight people were putting on them in the first place is bringing the attention. And like, you know, if you really don't want something to be around, just like stop caring about it and stop mentioning it. But like censorship is like never the way. Like, you know, I think protocols have the right to be able to, or not necessarily protocols, but some of these like apps like Dex Screener and that, they have the right, right? The chain can be free and etc. But like the front ends of whatever these platforms are, they can and, you know, are able to choose what they will and will not display. But whereas, you know, the chain itself, you know, if it's free to transact, it should be free to fucking make something but token or whatever the hell it was like going around. But it was interesting to see like people's reactions to it from like the perspective of like, hey, like the whole purpose of this space is like the freedom that like, you know, that it brings you, and now you're like pushing for some level of censorship, and made me sort of like take a step back and go, you know, what the fuck are we actually doing here?
It was interesting. And Swiss, I'll let you weigh in a sec, but like the one thing that I did notice was like all of these, and this isn't even a comment about whether or not it should be allowed or not. Like I think that's an entirely separate discussion about like, you know, what should be allowed and what is offensive, and that's a whole can of worms. But it was more just watching people say in the same tweet, oh yeah, you know, blockchains should be permissionless. But then the second that offensive shit came out, they're like, oh, maybe not that permissionless. And so it's like, guys, what the fuck are you talking about? How can you say, I believe in X absolute thing, but then be like, oh, actually, when like a very predictable and easily foreseeable scenario shows up, you instantly walk back that to like a lesser degree to try and, I wouldn't necessarily say like virtue signal, but it was that thing of like, oh, well, we can't stand for this. And it's like, yeah, that's correct. But if you're going to be kind of the proponent of like hyper libertarianism and full decentralization, then you can't just turn around and be like, oh shit, someone needs to do something about this at the at the level of the chain. And I don't think many people were saying like, oh, we should do something about this at the level of the chain. I think they were more talking about like, oh, hey, deck screener, you know, platforms that list the tokens have a right to be like, yeah, sorry, dude, you're not going to show up. It's going to be on the chain, but no one's going to see it. And I think that's fine. Like, I think that's a reasonable and good thing to do. Of like, when the Nazi coin came out, I was like, all right, okay, guys, we're obviously just trying to be edgelords here, and yeah, I'm sure there were much worse ones that didn't even get mentions or something. Like, I don't even, yeah, you can search for them yourselves, but yeah, it just makes me think of like that Paulie guy, right? Like, he just thrives, and he even makes a note of it, of like thriving on just getting the worst kind of attention. And it only works because everyone goes, oh no, how could he say these things? It's like, don't fucking bring it up. Just forget about it, move on. And that's my 8 cents on that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the whole situation, Swiss?
About like it's like the decentralized argument around the tokens sort of
Yeah,
thing,
just
or...
like, just the meta in general and what it means, and all of that.
Well, like, you could probably take a step back and then look at it from the perspective of, are these realistically going to catch on and be useful in a way to benefit a large majority of people? And the answer is like no. So very similar to many other things that are launched on Sol, it's probably just like a flash in the pan, as like like in terms of the things that were inscribed into them, or like the token names and stuff like that. Like, I actually thought it was hilarious that people were doing this. To be honest, like, I genuinely thought that it was like one of the funniest things to ever witness. And it's funny in the sense that it's like my interpretation of what I know to be funny. So when people started coming up and saying things like, oh, I don't know if this is like quite nice to say or this is fair to say, they're actually like right as well to think that. And we copy and paste our moral like structure and what we have known from our society and upbringing, and we just paste it into crypto. So crypto is not its own entity of like higher authority. We're just literally like doing us, but just in this like weird magical internet money sort of landscape. But it was funny. And then after a while, like, obviously the performance of these things go down, people talk about them less, and then they're just forgotten, of which is like your hot take, very on the nose, sensitive, crude jokes that you hear at like a stand-up comedy. You end up just like walking out and thinking, oh, that was funny, and now you've kind of forgotten about it a week on. So I don't know. It's fine if people want to talk about like censoring the chain. I don't think it really requires any sort of like argument for that or against it, because they're not going to be like, there's no ETF for Nicholas Cage, right? Like, there's nothing really that's going to come along and try and catch these up in a basket of like financial instruments that professionals will want to hold. But yeah, I just thought it was like really funny. And then that's just my humor. So someone out there might be listening and be like, oh, well, I didn't really like the fact that they made a Nazi coin, and you would be correct as well. So
yeah. I think like that's a really good point. Like I had a good laugh like seeing how ridiculous these things got, because to me that is funny, and like I know none of these things are being made maliciously. Like, that people have been doing this on the internet for fucking forever, right? Like, Pepe was like the fucking meme of the alt-right for so long. And, if you were on Reddit for a long time, then unless you were in like that, forgot what that subreddit was that was like pro-Trump, but like, I think it was the Donald or something. But like during that time, like anytime, if you ever used like a Pepe fucking meme, like you were the worst, like you were a racist and like all of this sort of stuff. And it's just like, no, like people were just like fucking shit posting online, and they do it to like, get a bit of a reaction, and people go, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. But no one's doing this shit maliciously. Like, maybe there is like a microcosm of like people that have these like sort of strong beliefs and this sort of stuff. But like, I don't think anyone's like going out here and genuinely thinking like this is like something that they strongly believe in. Like, it's doing it for a reaction. It's
all
funny
that
as fuck.
Mad Max meme of like, oh, no, that's bait. Like that's all
exactly.
it is. It's just an extension of that. Like, so much of that edgelord shit is literally just angsty dudes on the internet being like, man, I know I can rile people up with it. And it works. And it continues to work. It's like I highly doubt.
And you could make money off of it.
Yeah.
Like,
literally, it's like you're getting attention.
Imagine if like, 10, 14 years ago, like going on 4chan, if like you could make some post and like get reactions off of it, and like instead of just engagement, like you're just getting money off of it. So it's like the same thing. It's like my edgelord posts, like traditionally I'd get a bunch of likes or like retweets or whatever the fuck that you'd get on or comments or whatever the sort of metric you want to use for seeing how well it was engaged on. Whereas like this time you could fucking bet on it, and when you bet on it, you make money. So
yep. You're instantly correlating attention with money. So it's like, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah. Thick Degen says, please discuss crypto girls. And I think he's talking about that.
The crypto girls
video.
Oh my God. That was so cringe. Actually, like if I'm gonna say anything about like this past week, the amount of cringe shit that has come out from like not only just like the crypto girls thing, there was like dude that was gonna rug pull Solana and that has like fucking like pubes as like a haircut, and then there was like
the drop lollipop.
Yeah, the drop lollipop, and then there was like the NFT Nick thing, like that. I've kind of come around on that. Like I realized like his whole game, and it's like kind of funny now because like people still react to it, and like he's doing a pretty good job of like production value, and like the jokes are kind of funny and getting used to it. But like the fucking the pube hair dude and the fucking crypto girl stuff was like so bad, man. Like
I feel like it is just everyone chasing the clicks, man. It's like whether or not they're serious. Like even the pube hair guy, like I do think that's just a guy who's like, hey, watch this shit go viral. Like I'm just gonna do the Tate book of being like, what can I say that's gonna fucking piss off the most people and get the most attention? And it's like, there we go. Like,
I'm so rich, dude.
We've done it.
It's like, I thought this was my car, but it's not my car. I have the same one. I'm so rich. I'm out here in Dubai. You're like, fuck off, cunt. Like,
dude,
Jesus, man.
Never muted an account so fast. I was like, nah, I'm not falling. Again, it's bait, and I'm not falling for it. Mute. Get rid of it.
Oh my God. Man. But the crypto girls, man, I don't know. Like, I think, what's his name? Dom, like, posted about it. He said like he's like it's not the top, because if it was the top, the girls would actually be hot.
Dude, it was the amount of like, it's just it's the continuation of the cringe. Yeah. And I feel like as things get more overheated, it's going to get continually more cringe. But like, it was the same thing as the Binance perfume thing, which
the Binance
so
perfume
bad.
thing. Oh my God.
Binance perfume. That was just like the
how do we get women in crypto?
I know, we get shit that smells nice. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, this is an industry that's built on a non-culture.
Yeah.
You don't make it far by like signaling outward shit like that. And I just think that, like Zach has been so good at like just cracking down on that. As someone in the space that actually does good work and calls out the grifters and the scammers and actually goes after them and locks people up, like seeing him lash out at this shit is like a really good, I think, like just signal for everyone to be like, no one cares. This isn't the place to do it, guys.
Yeah.
Like, go to LinkedIn and do that there. I reckon we move to upcoming meta for soul memes, like shit that's actually going to do numbers moving forward.
So I feel like it's already started the meta, but like this whole pump.fun thing is like, I think it's like a pretty big turning point in terms of what we can expect to see, like on probably not just Sol, but like probably on things like base and that in the future. But the guy that started this, the dev, he's a Chad and a half. I forget his name. Let me find it quick. Alon, A1LON9. Yeah, he's mega Chad. he did a sick job. I'm not sharing screen right now. I'm a fucking retard. But yeah, this website. So if you guys haven't seen it, or if you haven't like played around with it, like you literally just click on start a new coin, type the name of the coin, the ticker, description, choose a file, put any Twitter links or websites or whatever, spend 0.02 Sol, and boom, you have a token. But then once the sort of token is released, then you can the token has to accumulate like a certain amount of early buyers, and then once it reaches that, then it creates this bonding curve. Like that's what you got to fill first. Once it's done that, it'll create a liquidity pool on Radium, and then gets released as an actual coin. So it's like doing pre-sales, but without like the having to put trust in like whoever you're sending the coins to like actually not rug you. And it just sort of takes the ability to rug away, especially if the market decides that pump.fun coins are better than like just random dev release coins. I've also noticed just then that they actually have pump.fun for Blast as well, which is pretty cool.
There's a couple of things with that I like recently. The addition of like the comment section, like that's new-ish. I think that's happened in like the last week.
I think the comments were, or you used to be like, I know when I was like doing shit, like you could put in comments as you were with your buys.
Yeah, but I've seen like the actual, just like you've just got the comment section under the coin itself, and you can kind of like, I've seen some warnings about like things like I've just been like digging around on there, and I've seen people be like, so this, like I've tracked wallet of this dev, it's dodgy. And like obviously that's not a fail safe, but like it is cool to see that there's that community engagement on shit of like, no, don't do it. And I mean, like you can still get brutally nuked on pump.fun. Like like the second it goes to bonding curve, and like 3 wallets have sniped like 30% of the supply at like 20K market cap. And then you come in and at the top of the bonding curve and you're like, oh, cool. And then it goes to Radium and you just get deleted. And you're like, well, that's pump.fun. But I do think that like it has that like ability to have like a fairer launch.
For sure.
And yeah, it's just more controls of like, you're not going to do an egg and send your hard-earned soul.
The egg.
Egg.
Egg. Fuck the egg.
God damn it, egg.
But
I did see a very.
I think
would have launched if it was racially charged. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, true.
Fucking egg. But yeah, I think like the whole concept of it. I hear Sanko, or they posted today about potentially integrating it in Sanko TV as well. So you could do like the whole stream, the releasing of the coin, and like trading pump.fun coins and that, which I think is a pretty cool flywheel with it all. I think like if they did some sort of integration, something like the troll box that I just popped it up on the screen, but like Sanko's got this troll box chat which is like permanent on like all pages, so like you can like talk to just randoms. It doesn't have to be on a particular channel or whatnot, but then like having a chat box like the stream chat but like on the particular coin could be cool too, especially like pre-bonding curve, because it'd be kind of like having a Telegram group but without having to go and add another fucking Telegram group to your Telegram, and you could just like shitpost in there with the other people that are buying the token, and just creates a social aspect to it, which I think would be pretty cool.
That would be fun. Like
it's kind of like
adding that
the casino, right? It's just like you go into the casino, but like before you were just by yourself in the casino, whereas like now you got people with you, you got friends. I think that's pretty cool.
Literally, you can Kabalify any coin. You're like, all right, guys.
What's worse than losing money by yourself? Losing money with friends.
Isn't that what we're all here for?
It's not about the profits, guys. It's about the friends we made in the pump.fun group chat along the way.
How do you blokes not get tired of just losing money on shitters? Honestly, Like,
Well, Swiss, we're not losing money on shitters.
I was gonna say.
that's just me. I'm just like packed it in 2 losses, and I'm like, nah, fuck this
Nah,
shit.
it's all about
That's
sizing.
it.
It's all about
This
sizing.
shit, I'm out.
It's all
And-
about just accepting that you donate some to the chain on
Yep.
occasion, on many occasions, and then just, I don't know. I'm a super defensive moron, and like I kind of just like, jeet a chunk of the
I
stack
only
on
ate
the way up.
pre-sales.
That's me.
I'm complete
But
opposite.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
I don't cheat like anything. Like it's rare that I actually cut a position. Like but I'm generally a little bit later than most. So like with Bowden or like with Whiff or even Popcat, like I didn't ride that initial ride up. Like I saw it, I faded it, or like I bought or sold early, and then I'm like, ah, shit, probably should have kept that. But then like when I see it like coming back, returning with some strength, and it's normally around that like 100 mil market cap range. If I see
Yeah.
like that sort of like the staying power of the coin, then like that's when I get in, and that's probably where I've made most of my money with the shitters. But
I
if
think that's a really good fucking call. Like it's just so much easier to size at that level as well. And be
Yeah.
like, okay, we've got the confirmed like consensus trade kind of thing. It's been around long enough. Fuck it.
deviations in me, mateys. Oh,
Literally, dude. Like, and that's the thing. It's like I've round tripped so many bags
Oh, yeah.
by finding really early shit, hitting with like, size that I don't care about losing, like literally a sol or two, and being like, okay. And then running it up and being like, cool, this is the one, only to inevitably like be like, oh, it wasn't the one.
yeah.
And like, yeah. And that's why I kind of like on the early ones, I just cycle out. But I mean, yeah, like my Bowden bag now, if I just held it from, I don't even want to do the numbers. Like my rule is I don't do the numbers on that shit, because I'm like, well, it's done and I can add back in, but there's no point living what could have been. But yeah, like I think it's so hard to pick to do the full like, yeah, study retardio at a 50K market cap level.
Yeah,
And you're like, yeah, cool. I'm gonna hold this to like to zero, because it's like, well, I'd prefer to defensively make gains, stack it, and then just keep a little bit and be like, sweet.
That's actually pretty true, because like the 2 coins that I kind of fucked up on the most that I sized was like the NOS launch, the pre-sale one, and then the egg launch. Like I aped into that, and like both of them like ran up super hard, super quick at the beginning, and I was like, fuck, I'm like 2-3x on this already. And then I'm like, this thing's gonna fucking run, and then it just fucking like rugs itself, and then I'm like, well, there goes 5 sol, there goes 10 sol, like it's fucking done. And I'm like, oh fuck, I should have just cheated that early, and then like they just never come back. Whereas like the ones where they've already had their little run up, and they just chilled out a bit, and then they're starting to come back again. Like when I saw last stream, when I like stopped talking midstream, and I was like, sorry, I've got to buy Bowden. And then aped Bowden, like I'm up 85% since then, so I'm pretty happy about that buy. But like those ones I tend to do well with, but the smaller, lower market cap ones, like I've rarely done a good job on them, and probably will continue not to do them, because I've realized I can't do it. It's too quick. It needs to be a slow grind up. I think Stick says that a bit. Like if it goes up too fast, like you just got to get rid of it. And I think that's some pretty good alpha. Is that like
literally the only
matters.
exception to that rule was Bohm, I think. Like in a real like,
I think that was
unique.
It was unique though. You know what I mean?
That's not going to happen again.
Yeah, and then like the coins that I fucked up on was like trying to chase that Bohm, because I was trying to fucking beat Bala. Shout out to Bala. I see he's in the chat.
Hey, yeah, the fucking Bohm. Here he is.
He's the Bohm king.
Legitimately. I don't think anyone did Bohm as well as Bala. Like he would be in the top point something percent of Bohm.
Yeah,
literally Bohm degenerates that did well.
The weekend that I fucking like touch grass is the weekend that like that shit pops out, and I'm like, fuck. And then like we're all out doing the dinner thing, and he's like, yeah, I totally cooked on Bohm. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, so I killed it on this.
But Bala says he was the top trader when he checked last
Oof,
on Boom. That's fucking sick.
fuck yeah,
What a king.
dude. Shout out to Bala. We got to get Bala on the pod if he ever feels comfortable with voice doxing, and we can chat some shit.
For sure.
All right,
Cool.
guys. We touched on it last pod, but base season, and my initial take is, and again, I know everyone gets so grumpy when you're like, it's a forced narrative. Like, I don't know who was called. Like, everyone's like, it's not a forced narrative. It's like, it feels kind of like a forced narrative. But again, I got some base memes with zero size because I just can't be fucked doing the whole bridging thing. And now I'm kind of like
Bro, you don't need a
a
bridge. You
Solana
just
meme
fucking
guy.
go to a sex. Just like
I just want to
transfer.
keep shit on chain, and
Uh,
I'm just like, yeah,
yeah.
don't want to do it. Um, but yeah, like I will partake. I will partake less, and again, I'm probably.
How much does it cost to bridge to base? Like if you're bridging from
Oh,
ETH, isn't it like
it doesn't cost anything. Like
bullshit? It'd be
it's
like $200, right? For
actually.
yeah, it'd
Oh,
be
true, because the actual ETH gas fees
yeah,
themselves. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It'd be like
Okay,
$200 to
probably a
bridge.
fuckload.
Yeah,
Oh god. Okay.
that's what it's Bala says it's cheap. I don't know. Like I normally just transfer to like the centralized exchange and then transfer out because like
That's a good call.
that way you're only doing like the transfer fee rather than the bridging fee. But
Mm.
Bala says it's cheap, so I'm gonna trust Bala on that. But I'm pretty sure
Oh yeah, Orbiter. Yeah.
Orbiter,
If you
righto.
use the right bridges, like there's a
Yeah.
really good one that bypasses base because it's like, you know how there's the whole 7-day wait period to do it on chain from base.
Mm-mm.
It's like there's so many other bridges that like I bridged from base to Arbitrum. It felt sketchy as fuck. I did like a test transaction and was like, are we sure this is gonna work? And it did. I forgot what the bridge is called, but it's really good. Like it just went from base to Arbitrum and it was done in like a couple of minutes. And I was like,
True.
oh, that's
Uh,
nice.
I always like get semi heart attacks when I bridge shit because I'm like, ugh, did I do this properly? And then
Literally, even doing the test transaction and being like, okay, now I'm doing it with real money. And you're like, fuck, I'm doing the
especially
exact same thing and it worked.
especially on
But
ETH, because
yep,
ETH, you're like, if I fuck this up, I'm probably gonna like lose $100, like US. It's like
yep.
that could have been a nice dinner. I think Swiss actually did a really cool post on it the other day around the like the Coinbase thing. Swiss, you had some thoughts there. I'm pretty sure.
The
Like the best way to bet
I
on
usually get
base.
all of my stuff from your account. All my smart takes are from you, and I try to claim it as my own
Fuck off.
to get my followers up. And then if I don't do that, it's just Chat GPT. What did I say?
I think you were saying like,
find it.
I think you were saying like, if you want to bet on base, like, wouldn't you just buy Coinbase?
Yeah, that's just cope, I feel. But I don't know. I was talking to Tom about this the other day. I wasn't sure if like if an ETH ETF would be more certain in the sense that like what else does TradFi want out of the space if they've already got the biggest and best performer? And I was like, if ETH is like innovation and innovation is speculation, I wonder if it's just more appealing to hold Coinbase stock than try and whip up a ETH ETF and just hold your BTC and ETFs, and then you're a Coinbase stock, and then you can be like, yeah, well, I'm capturing the most upside because I'm betting on the major company that's going to capture the speculation, and I'm betting on the best performer, and there's not really much else to do apart from that.
Yeah,
So
that's
maybe
literally why
that's
I
something.
bought Coinbase like originally. It was that exact reason. Because I was like,
Nice. So I did copy it from you. Perfect. Good. Thought I did.
I don't think I shared my thoughts on it, but I literally thought like with my TradFi money that I had, I was like, well, if I believe that, you know, crypto is going to have another cycle here and I'm betting big on it because that's when I started buying again. And I was like, if I truly believe that, then shouldn't I position my stocks to sort of reflect that? Because like I was just being lazy with it with like the S&P 500 ETFs. I was like, okay. So then I just like completely rotated into Coinbase with like most of my stocks except for like Microsoft, and I bought a little bit of Hood as well. Also, Pastor just reminded me that this is episode 15, not episode 14. So thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
It's because the last one was like the on-chain episode and I didn't have to edit it. So
True.
Lamau, that's funny. Appreciate you. But yeah, I think like I still think Coinbase is like such a good play for that. And like if we do get continued ETFs and shit like that, and like this stock's gonna go so high. But I think just looking back at those like market caps by coin denomination, like if you do like the relative valuation trade thing, then like, you know, Biddy's at like what 1.3 trillion market cap now, which is pretty insane. So like if Coinbase is going to capture a fair bit of those flows, then, you know, probably sees a lot more upside than what we're currently seeing.
Definitely. And Q1 earnings is going to be fucking insane. Like, I just think that when you start to see revenue capture from all the trading from Bitcoin ETFs, from all that stuff, when they do their Q1, I'm sure our like expectations will be high, but I do think they'll beat, and that will be like signal of all TradFi being like, whoa, what Coinbase? Whoa, I should own some of that. Fuck.
Yeah. What
Coupled
saying,
with
Swiss?
like halving narrative and all that shit. Sorry, Swiss.
Yeah, well, it's essentially like a bet on the downside as well, in a weird way, because like we take the risk on the way up, but if they own the company that like wins on both sides, the sells and the buys, then they can essentially like hedge out any potential cycle just by capturing the upside of a business that would capture the upside and downside from like a revenue perspective. The other thing which I think would probably be really interesting for them, maybe, I don't really know who's on the other end of these thoughts, but like Circle in their low cost team with their revenue that they make from all this money on chain. I think that would be pretty interesting for them. It's just that I'm not sure.
They haven't IPO'd yet though, right? Circle.
Yeah, but it's like
they're going to though, I'm pretty sure.
It's another thing to do with the space. So like you've got the best performer, you've got the speculation vehicle that captures the revenue, and then you've got this is going to be the future tech that's widely used, which is stable coins, and then this is how much profit this small business makes. So it's like if I could hold Circle at a good price, Coinbase at a good price, and BTC at a good price, I don't know if I would ever consider like shitcoining, because I would have I'd have everything covered in terms of like
risk adjusted returns,
I would want to get, all that sort of shit. But like I think the ETH ETF doesn't fit into that, and I'm not sure
it does
where
it does
goes.
So this is like the bull case for coin, right? Is like depending on how the regulation stuff pans out, you've got a couple of like headwinds that are tailwinds or whatever the fuck word is applicable here, but like you've got two
tailwinds,
things. You've got one, the ETH ETF. So depending on how the regulations pan out, and like we saw it with a couple of announcements from Fidelity and one other issuer around the staking, right? So if the ETFs will be allowed to stake, I highly doubt that those investment vehicles like Fidelity and that are going to be using a decentralized service like Lido as much as they would probably use Coinbase ETH staking as a thing, because then they could have their custodian being Coinbase, and then Coinbase then stakes via the Coinbase staking. So then it provides the yield from the staking service. So then the coin would probably take a cut of that for providing the service, and then the yield would then go to the Fidelity ETF holders, or like let's say it's BlackRock or whatever. So that could be pretty big. So I think like that's a bit of fuel to the fire if that ETF ever gets approved sometime in November or next year sometime.
But like where does it fit into people's like? That's good for Coinbase, I guess.
Yes.
Good for.
So I guess what I'm saying is it captures that it captures that speculation vehicle. So if you were trying to get exposure to it, right? So you've got BTC exposure, you've got the Coinbase exposure, which is like it covers everything, because Coinbase ultimately covers the BTC side because it covers the BTC ETF trading, right? It covers the trading on all of the other speculation vehicles, being Solana, all the other coins, etc. It's the number one retail sort of platform in the US, I guess, because Binance is shit over there. And then if you get the Ether ETF narrative, then you get all of that side of things too. And then lastly, depending on regulations, if base chain takes off and they can do something with it in some way, shape, or form, then coin then becomes, from a relative valuation sake, an L2, if you know what I mean, because then like the coin token, depending if they release a base token, but like the coin token could be some sort of, connection to the base chain, and it then should be treated similarly to Arbitrum or Optimism or anything like that, in terms of what makes up its overall valuation. So I feel like it's just like the perfect vehicle for investing in the crypto upside.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was just more saying, like, I don't see how an ETH ETF like becomes a option for people separate to Coinbase.
Yeah, I'm kind of partial to that. Like, because you were
Makes sense.
chatting, you and I were chatting about it, Swiss, and like I didn't really think of it until you kind of explained of like, yeah, you've got your Bitcoin, you've got your coin, like as in Coinbase, and it's like, well, yeah,
Well,
where
I don't.
does
I say Coinbase as I don't think it's a consensus trade yet.
Mhm.
I think it's like undervalued where it's at, relative to ETH, if that is like the parabola you want to use to justify the investment position. But if they did come to that decision of like, here's how you can get exposure to this Ponzi without taking on more inherent risk, then coin fits into it better. Because like if you try to like shop around the idea of an ETH ETF, your argument points are like harder to sell. It's like, what does it do? Oh, it does everything more so than Bitcoin. Oh, okay. Why isn't it the biggest? I don't know. It's like, okay. What is there any upside to owning this? And it's like, yeah, short term you might get a little bit more, but on the downside you'll get a lot less historically. So it's like, okay, can I just like stick with BTC? Is that like fine enough, or do I need to take on the ETH ETF? And it's like, I don't know if they need the extra risk to have an ETH ETF. I can see in the future it being approved, but it's like, why would they just not approve like a basket ETF that just encapsulates all these other tokens? And then you can go, well, they can't do that because there's not fair distribution, or we don't know the legalities of how these others launched. And there you go. Like that's your like reasoning for why like we're probably in a cycle and not like the super cycle, because there's still that like not sure what fits into this category, unless they're going to try and like, because I think like with the with the BTC ETF, to a certain degree, it's like they're taking BTC out of their ecosystem in the sense that it's now a traditional asset for them, and they're sort of leaving everything else behind for speculation. And so to validate that idea would mean that everything bleeds against BTC over the next like decade, which I don't think is going to be the case per se, because you've already got an indication that ETH holds up with BTC. But it's like, if nothing else gets like a spot ETF inflow like vehicle, what does that say about the rest of the space and people's like appetite for what they actually want out of it? Because if they wanted upside, the best performer, and they just can't be fucked getting involved any further because they think it's a Ponzi, then they've been able to identify that BTC is a better option because it's not like the others. And essentially they've made that decision and they can just like move on with their lives. Whereas like the argument for the ETH ETF is like, it's the smart contract platform that some people use because there's others, but it's more decentralized, and it has a case at the moment for it not being a fair distribution launch. not sure where that ends, but if it is an ETF, would you like it? And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, we just want the best performer and like the upside. So yeah, we'll just take the BTC and just leave ETH to
I
sort
guess you got to
itself out.
ask yourself the question, like what's the purpose of the ETFs, right? And like, to me, the purpose of the ETF is a way for the funds or people with, you know, large amounts of money that don't have access to purchasing spot, or like maybe they have like internal mandates that they can only purchase via, you know, certain avenues, and or they want to speculate or they want to invest in a certain industry, but like, or they might want to buy ETH or they might want to buy Solana or something, but they don't want to go through all of the risk of managing, you know, hard wallets, etc. So the ETF just gives them like, hey, I can log into my typical broker's account, so I can purchase and buy it on there. That's really why. But I think what your point sort of illustrates more is like, who is the marginal buyer that's not of that sort of type. So sovereign wealth fund, you know, large investor, you know, people that are clients of these companies such as BlackRock, Fidelity, and that want to buy crypto but don't want to deal with a crypto exchange because, oh my god, FTX, etc. They just want to go into their normal place where they invest in, and then do those same investments. But you know, ETH is probably more like a tech stock, and BTC is narrative has driven it to be more like currency, sovereign, store of value sort of thing. So
yeah,
like,
well, like the other way you could look at it is like BTC is crypto and ETH is tech, and then it's like, well, why don't you just have like a basket of these tech stocks and then just have a BTC ETF? Because that's what essentially has occurred. Right, like they've dissected BTC away from the rest of the market and said like, we think this is different to everything else.
I don't know I don't know if they're doing it. We think this is different. I just think they were forced into it because of the previous litigations that happened, particularly around this one, and because it was the first mover. And
I would say that everyone, like, not even necessarily was forced, but it was more just like, it was so apparent and clear that BTC was like the different thing to everything else.
I don't even know if it was. I actually don't think it was.
Tom, I think the reason why they've done this is because of MicroStrategy, and they're like business acumen towards this, because they basically came out and said that we're going to be a vehicle for acquiring the stuff, and then the impact on their stock price indicated that there was a demand for that vehicle. And so that's what I think has drove people to put in these applications a little bit more seriously and get them across. Because if like the market's already said that, okay, well, if MicroStrategy has gone up on this news and people are buying MicroStrategy to get exposure to the upside of BTC, then that's a pretty compelling argument for why we need more ETFs.
I would disagree. I would say MicroStrategy probably doesn't even make it on most people's radar that are paying attention to this stuff. I would say the DCG stuff with the court case from the SEC, I think that probably influenced things more. And I would say that Bitcoin has probably made it into most of these funds' minds from previous cycles, and the money printing thing probably was more of, or like the, you know, decentralized money, you know, store of value meme is probably pushed more, and then their clients are going, hey, I want to buy this, why can't you let me buy this? And, you know, I don't want to use some crypto exchange. Come on, BlackRock, please give me a way to buy this. I think that's probably driven it more. I honestly don't think MicroStrategy is like even on most of these people's radar.
But it's not necessarily the buyer's radar. It's the people that are like wanting to release the ETFs to capture the flows.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
My question to you would be, is like, why would you think MicroStrategy's performed so well recently?
I would say MicroStrategy performed so well because people were doing the long short trade on the long Bitcoin, short MicroStrategy trade, and then got blown the fuck out.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
I think that's fair. I think the reason why they've done this is because of MicroStrategy. And they're basically came out and said that we're going to be a vehicle for acquiring the stuff. And then the impact on their stock price indicated that there was a demand for that vehicle. And so that's what I think has drove people to put in these applications a little bit more seriously and get them across. Because if like the market's already said that, okay, well, if MicroStrategy has gone up on this news and people are buying MicroStrategy to get exposure to the upside of BTC, then that's a pretty compelling argument for why we need more ETFs.
That's why I think.
Yeah, sure. But like, well, another question would be, why do you think MicroStrategy's not performed like? Well, maybe it's like performed similar to tech stocks, but
Yeah.
maybe there's a more of a like, I don't know the data. This is just me like thinking on this, but I'm not sure if like the correlation of MicroStrategy is more tied to Bitcoin or more tied to tech.
I would say it's more tied to
And
tech. I don't think that many people buy MicroStrategy as a way to get access to Bitcoin. I feel like the people that are actually aware of MicroStrategy and speculating on it, like if you wanted to get Bitcoin exposure via stocks, there's way better stocks to buy than MicroStrategy. Because MicroStrategy, you're essentially investing in the company, and the company has nothing to do with Bitcoin except for the fact that it's on its balance sheet. So I think there's probably
and that it consistently dilutes its shares to buy more.
yeah. And so I would say the MicroStrategy price action has been more around traders trying to short the fuck out of it and getting blown out. And so it's like a crowded trade, but to the downside. And I think that crowded trade has caused performance to the upside. That's why I think MicroStrategy's outperformed. I could be completely wrong on that, but I don't think there's
I think there's a very
solid,
like, because people that wanted to bet against Bitcoin used, or bet on or against Bitcoin, but pre-ETF. Like there's an interesting report somewhere. I wrote an article on it a few months ago. It was like right at the end of the year, but it was about the amount of short positions that had been liquidated on MicroStrategy, and it was some horrific number. Like a lot of TradFi, can I get the P&E on Bitcoin kind of guys got fucking decimated, like running, being like, yeah, there's no way this gets like, not necessarily no way the ETF gets approved, but like, geez, it's just another bubble. It's tech driven. We'll short the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And we're like,
and as a company, it's a shit company, right? Like,
it's a terrible company.
Like, who even knows what fucking MicroStrategy does? I think they build like BI dashboards or some stupid shit like that.
Business intelligence. It's like, it's a software business intelligence platform. It's like, no, it's Michael Saylor's Bitcoin fund, bro.
Yeah. And like, as far as stocks go, in terms of like trying to get exposure to Bitcoin, like you had all of the BTC miners. You had, the Coinbase, as like we were talking about before. I feel like there was different avenues to be able to like get exposure to it. So I don't think like MicroStrategy is anything other than just like mismatch buyers and sellers and one side of the trade getting blown the fuck out. So I think
you think it went from like $200 to 1,600 just because shorts piled in?
Yeah, I just think it was a mismatch
months.
trade. It was a mismatch trade. I don't think I don't see maxis. Like if you think about it, okay, who's buying MicroStrategy because they want Bitcoin exposure? Like, okay, it's probably going to be a maxi.
Like if you bring up the MicroStrategy chart and zoom out, like we can talk about this. It's dead from 2000 to literally the last cycle and now. And so it's not necessarily that it's like people are buying it to get exposure to Bitcoin. It's like, why is this stock performing well? It's the attention around the asset that's causing the interest, in my opinion. You could say like shorts are blown out. Sure. If shorts took it from like $200 to like 16,000, then that's pretty damn good. For like a skew of sellers to buyers to like get to that point of like, forced selling or buying or whatever.
The gamma squeeze, or
I'm not saying that a rational investor looks at MicroStrategy and says, this is my additional risk to Bitcoin. It's like, you just take it for what it is, which is that the stock has decided to start performing really well. And it's just like, you need to like, why is that? And it's like, is there a correlation to the fact that these guys have like a BTC strategy apart from selling their microchips?
No doubt.
Is that why
they don't sell microchips? They don't even sell microchips. They just sell BI dashboards.
Sell their software. Sorry, I got that wrong.
Software in scare quotes. Yeah, no.
I've just pulled up the chart. Like, I do understand what you're saying. Like, the price action is fairly ridiculous. Like, it's gone up 10x since January last year.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's not correlated with tech, right? Like, so, like, where the hell has this price action come from? And like, why are there sellers and buyers deciding to like participate in this?
yeah.
And I'm not saying that this has sparked the reason for why the ETFs needed to be pushed down everyone's throat. It's just, this is an example of like, okay, so there's a company that's like avidly trying to like collect this on its balance sheet. And then if you're not the retail punter, but if you're someone who's like, I'm on the fence about whether or not to like have a BTC ETF, you could look at this and go, well, they're clearly like they're all in this idea to accumulate this asset, and this is how the market has decided to treat their stock. Probably makes like a lot of sense to have at least a product for some of, if there are buyers of this stock, to come and buy our stuff as well. And that's what I like. I just don't know if there's like a Michael Saylor of ETH out there doing the same thing with their company
That's
enough
fair.
to drive that sort of interest for an ETH ETF. It doesn't matter if they've got like native yield. It just comes down to the matter of fact of like, do people really want to take on more risk for a second performer? And it's like,
Yeah.
Do
I
people
think
want the second chair? Yeah.
I think that leads into sort of like a sort of topic that I wanted to sort of bring up before, but it was like the upside targets for BTC and ETH, because I think that, you know, to your exact point, like who is the marginal buyer of ETH versus BTC? And it's like, well, BTC is going after the store of value narrative, right? BTC's going for, you know, like it's a currency, it's a store of value. So then like your relative valuation on like your upside, like you're at 1.3 trillion now, whatever I said before, like why the fuck couldn't it take a lot more gold's market cap? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's trillions more. You know, the capital that unlocks is a lot more. But ETH is a, you know, smart contract platform which enables financial trades, but it's ultimately just a smart contract platform. So it's ultimately a tech stock. So if you're going to do a relative valuation trade, you're going to be looking at ETH versus tech stocks. Whereas if you're going to do BTC, you're going to be go BTC versus gold or currency as the relative valuations. So from a upside potential, I feel like BTC probably has a undervalued upside versus ETH, because people, I would say for the most part, especially in this space, look at BTC and like, I've probably got a 2x if I buy from here. So like, if it's at 67k, I could maybe get to like 130k. You know, what's next? ETH? Oh yeah, ETH's going to 10k. So that's a 3x. All right, Sol's going to 1,000. You know, that's a 5x. So like, if people look at it like that, but in reality, like when the dust settles, like BTC probably has a 10x from here, but probably even more, in terms of like getting to a decent like capture of its potential upside. Whereas like all the others probably, you know, maybe the lower tier coins probably have a 10x on them, but like ETH probably doesn't have a 10x in it. Like I can't imagine ETH at 30k. Like gas would be like $1,000, $2,000. Like that shit ain't happening.
1L. L2s are a part of Ethereum.
Yeah, well, imagine what L2 fees are when ETH's like fucking $1,000 for a transaction. Like,
You know what we need to do? We need to get fucking Anthony Sassano on here.
oh my god,
And
yeah, let's
we
do
need
it.
we need to get Sassel on. Fuck it. That actually seems like a good idea, because I would love to have someone. Swiss and Sassel go head to head on the Poad. Would be good.
I would always approach it from like I've just got like the dumbest questions to ask, and it's just like, please educate me. Like,
No,
he
but I do
probably
think you've
would.
raised like a shitload of really solid points
Yeah,
around like, you know, the level of like, why should people take on this level of risk for ETH when Bitcoin's there? And then, I mean, Baby Werewolf in the chat is literally just saying, but BTC L2s, you
yeah,
know, like you
Yeah,
have a narrative where it's like,
BT.
we could do the same, like obviously not to the same capacity or to the same length. And I'm sure the bankless guys would probably have some kind of seizure upon hearing this, but it's like, you know, we can do similar-ish things on the only chair that you need. And I'm saying this as a guy whose portfolio is sitting in like, you know, 60% ETH on a fucking ledger. So I'm not coming at this from like a, oh, sucked in ETH bros. I'm a fucking ETH bro.
I
But
am.
like, I like, and I do think that there's a lot to be said for ETH in terms of like, if it can prove itself as the
Store of value.
global decentralized computer / ultrasound money, then yeah, you've got a compelling case, but I don't think it's there yet. And I think that it needs to prove that.
I think the only thing ETH's got going for it is the native yield. Because like if you think about like BTC, the only way to get the yield is if you're a miner, right? So like if you're a miner, you can make money off the transactions, but as a BTC holder, you're being diluted due to the fact that, you know, the miners are making themselves more coins all the time, which they inevitably have to sell because they're forced to sell in order to pay expenses, which causes good distribution. Unlike ETH, which has a native yield, which you're not forced to sell because you don't have costs, or like your costs are relatively small. So if you're a native ETH holder, you're constantly being diluted. So it's better to be a staked ETH holder if you're deciding to hold. Whereas like with BTC,
I wonder if
it's a little bit different. So yield is probably the only thing that, like, from a TradFi perspective, like if you're wanting to allocate to the space, that's probably the thing that like attracts you into it.
100%. And like, sorry, Swiss, I'll make this extremely quick, but I think this is like Stick's point of just, because if he was here, I feel like he would say something along the lines of like, it's like a premium crypto asset that you can get 4% yield on, essentially, like, you know, per annum, just whirring away. And if you think that suits aren't going to be like, oh, that's sick, like it just seems
in
like
a low
really,
interest rate
like,
environment as well. Yeah, ETH pumps.
Yep. So that's purely my take on like I'm living vicariously through my inner Sticks and just being like, suits see 4% yield on crypto that they can get just by owning it. Like, all right, cool, fuck it.
And it's only 4% yield now because like activity is not as great. But like if activity reaches the point where L2s are like actually necessary, which you could argue like they're somewhat necessary now, but there's like way too much liquidity fractionalization. But if L2s take off to the point where there's like your wallet's like agnostic to the position of the L2, then yeah, like yields probably go to like 7-8% at some point. So, you know, if you're in a lower interest rate environment as well, like it fucking makes a lot more sense than holding Bitcoin.
And we've got Eigenlayer coming up as well, and the whole restaking thing. Yeah. We'll see how long that like lasts as,
and like the burn, like as well. Like this thing, like there's a price to earnings ratio on that shit. Like I feel like there's valuation models you could do on it for sure.
That's the thing, and I think that's going to be the lure of like, yeah, can I get the P&E on ETH? And it's like, well, actually, you can. And it's like, oh fuck, okay. Let's model it and invest in it. This is great. It fits the TradFi bill to a T. But yes, Wiz, I'll let you jump in now. Apologies.
No, I think that's like fair and reasonable. That's why you don't want to bet against it in all its glory, because it's like, I'm not sure if the performance of the asset during the bear market was a result of everyone coming together and realizing that this was the asset to hold throughout the bear market, or if it was maybe a lot of the DeFi protocols that were native to the chain that allowed people to not harshly sell their assets as much.
I'd say the first one would probably be it. I think there was, during the bear, there was a huge collective of people, including myself, and I would say most people on here
Same.
would say that they became ETH believers during that time. And I think because of that, like, I would say the coin that you bought when things weren't as great, like 12, 18 months ago, was ETH. And so I think a lot of people became believers, and that's what sort of held prices to where they were.
Well, I sure as fuck wasn't buying Solana, to my own detriment, but you know, like that.
Neither was I.
That was That was the consensus. But yeah.
No, it is a good point though, because like I think even to your second point, Swiss, I think the first point relies on the second point, because if ETH did not have those DeFi protocols and all of those like, quote unquote, like real use applications like on its network, then it probably didn't receive the same sort of attention where people would choose that, hey, this is the thing to bet on. So I think I don't think you can take one without the other, but I think collectively, like at that point in time, there was nothing really happening in the BTC L2 space. Like that was like pre-ordinals, like most of that shit was pretty like, vaporware. And then outside of ETH, everything else was vaporware at the time, or didn't feel like something you'd particularly want to hold because VC allocations and poor distributions and all of that. Whereas ETH felt like it was the most well distributed, decentralized coin to hold that had something other than just, oh, this is money, this is the store of value, that type of narrative going around for it. So I think it's probably a combination of both. And I think the lack of performance of it over the last 12 months has probably been attributed to the fact that most people made that decision during the bear, and so the people that were going to allocated, and then the people that once things started moving again, people like were deallocating and moving into other bags, which sort of muted the price action a bit, as well as all of the estate sales of all of those people that went under as well. But yeah.
Yeah, no. All right. I feel like we can let's put a fucking pin in the BTC ETH can of worms. Otherwise, we're gonna be here till gonna be midnight. And I gotta wake up and no, that was fucking fantastic though. Like that's the good stuff. We gotta get Sassel on, and we can have like an actual, because I think it is really good to speak to someone with like just extreme knowledge of one asset. That's like, okay, this is all I do. This is everything.
Someone that's not bankless.
Yeah, that was kind of what I said. Someone with extreme knowledge of what they're talking about comes in.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we kind of want to talk about? I think that
Do Kwon. Do
Kwon. Oh shit.
Bro got fucking walked the fuck out.
Yeah, with special forces. So what actually happened? So he said he's been released from prison.
So he got
Montenegro.
Yeah, so I just pulled up the little post here. So Do Kwon released from prison. Supreme Court suspended a lower court decision to extradite him to South Korea, where he faces fraud charges. His release followed the completion of his regular prison term for traveling with fake papers, according to prison director, blah, blah, blah. Moved to a shelter for foreigners, and his passport was being held by authorities. So he's done his time and is now probably in like what I would call probably a detention center. But like footage is pretty nuts, man. Like I don't know if this is popping up on the stream. I don't know if I'm sharing screen.
But yeah, no, you're good. Yeah. I can see it.
Bro looks healthy, man.
Yeah,
he looks good.
He's been doing the Suju treatment, man. He's looking great. He's been on that detox.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's been reconnecting with his ancestors.
Yeah. I think Sue posted something about like.
Of course, he said something. Fuck's sake.
What did he say? I keep telling people that prison is the dopamine rehab / disciple maxing, discipline maxing that you need. Don't fade. Like, oh my god, dude.
Bro, just put your phone down and go outside. Dude. The flexing of the prison thing is
just nuts.
It's something. It's something. I won't weigh in. I gotta stop shitting on him. But no, it will be really interesting to see who tries to take him the hardest, because it's like he's got 2 extradition orders, SEC in the States and in South Korea.
Yeah.
I've forgotten which one he really didn't fucking want to go to. I think it was South Korea that he was like, oh shit, I don't want to do that. But I
Yeah.
know that he was very like his lawyers were pushing hard against one of
I feel
them
like
to
either
be
way,
like,
like it's pretty fucked.
either way it sucks.
Yeah.
Like no matter where he goes, things are not going to be good.
Do we
But I think
ape into his first project that he releases? Like,
oh what the like what could he do now? You just know he would do something as well.
do we think he goes on like a Kyle and Sue like redemption arc where they're like going on all these podcasts to like try and rehabilitate their image and like be a likable character again? Or do you think he like still comes out with the bravado of like what he had before prior to everything going to shit?
I
I
reckon he
don't.
runs it back.
He
Yeah.
runs it back.
He runs it
Yeah,
back.
Luna 2.0. Let's go.
He's
Let's
already
go.
done it. He's already done the Lunar Classic. uh,
God
I don't
damn.
know, man. I feel like he's the kind of guy. I don't think that he has that in him
So here's an
anymore.
interesting thought, right? I sort of when I was watching the video, sort of came to me today. If you think about him, right, and like the whole Luna thing, and then you think about like the Kyle and Sue thing, right? Kyle and Sue legitimately were just like straight up scamming people because they were like telling people they wanted, you know, that they had certain amount of assets and they were just like dying on leverage.
We're totally solvent, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah. And then there
Buy
was
more
like
of our
some
shit, please.
shit that came out this week about like Layer Zero saying that like they were
Yeah.
trying to convince them to like keep all of their treasury with them like prior to the crash. And then I think there was a few others that came out and said a similar thing. Whereas like Do Kwon, like he was a dick, right? But what caused Luna to crash was just simply the way the protocol was designed and was open. Like, you know, people could see that from like a mile away because like it was a, you know, perpetual wheel or like perpetual energy machine, but of finance. And yeah, it went to shit and it was terrible. But like he didn't at any point in time like try and scam people the way that Kyle and Sue did. He made a protocol and it was shit and people still believed in it and invested a lot of money in it. Yeah, he did some like dickheady things along the way, but you know, and probably ruined a lot of people's lives. But is it the same sort of like caliber of intention that like Kyle and Sue had versus like Do Kwon? Just sort of
I would.
was wrestling with that today.
No, that's actually a good point. I think that I don't know enough, like off the top of my head, to say yes or no. But I do think that offering the 20% yield on UST was fucked. Like knowing that you're inventing a fucking number out of thin air. And it's like, where's it coming from? It's like, oh, dude, trust me, we're just burning this Luna thing, and yeah, it's just really advanced shit. You wouldn't get it.
So
And
the
then,
way I used to
yeah,
justify that was a marketing expense. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, but that's the problem is like that's fundamentally dishonest. Of like it's that front running the Ponzi of like, well, we'll say 20% now, and then when enough comes in, we can actually run
True.
20%.
I
But it's
think
like that's illegal, homie.
I think it's probably the Chia stuff. You know how like
Yes.
they claimed
Yeah.
that like Chia was this like payments app that like people in South Korea were using and all of that. I think that was probably the egregious bit because like there seemed to be like a natural demand for what was it, LST or whatever, the
UST.
UST.
And it was the
So
Anchor protocol that
yeah,
was
yeah.
that
Because
was the
Anchor was
thing.
like a side thing. It wasn't like the main thing. You know what I mean?
No, but it was like
Um,
all part of that like Luna burn
yeah,
buyback
yeah,
mechanism, and that's how it generates the
yeah.
yield through
So
complex
like,
Ponzi-nomics.
yeah, yeah. So like, I think that I probably answered my own question there was probably like that Anchor thing plus the
Yep.
the bullshit about Chia and all of that that probably drove it to it. Because I
Yeah.
almost like
Well,
aped my entire fucking, you know, savings account into it, like in the last few months prior to it. Because I was like, man, I can get 20% yield on this. Market's pretty shit. like this seems pretty smart, and like all these big, companies like 3 Hours are investing in
Yep.
Luna. Like I almost did it, but like I had like this gut wrenching feeling, like, maybe not.
You would
Fucking
have been
say,
that video of that guy there was like some TikTok of some guy. I saw it quite recently actually, like, hey, anyone checked in on this dude? And it was just this TikTok video of this guy explaining how he's going to pay off the mortgage on this like $1 million house. He's like, I'm just putting $450,000 in UST and I'm getting 20% yield and that pays off my mortgage payments. And you're like, oh, bro. Oh
oof,
no. And it was like, I think 2 weeks before
yeah.
everything blew up. I think I had like a couple $100 worth of anchor. So revealing my size here, guys.
I had like
Back
$1,000 of UST.
back in the day, and I was away. I don't know where I was. I think I was overseas. Like I think I was literally like on a surf trip in Indo, and I remember just checking Binance one day and being like, "Huh, I have the same amount of anchor, like ANKR, but it's worth like $4.80. That's weird." And then I was like, and then I like opened up this like news and checked shit and was like, "Oh, fuck, damn it." And it was like one of those things that was like insanely obvious in hindsight. And it was that thing that taught me the lesson of like, if you don't know where the yield is coming from, congratulations.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I
2022
do
was a
think
rough
like
year.
again, 22 is fucking brutal. And I think that meta of like, hey, you want to get stable 10% plus yield on shit is just hopefully dead. But yeah, no, I do think that Do Kwon is an like he's an arrogant piece of shit, and I think that he should cut what he gets.
Yeah, for
Laura
sure.
Shin has a fantastic episode with Kwon before he got arrested in Montenegro
Oh,
um,
true. Did you see the one
on
that she
this.
did with Kyle the other day?
Oh yeah, I did. That
Holy
was,
fuck, she ripped him to shreds on the intro.
and only Laura could have done that. Like
She did
she's
it
so
so
like
well.
just clean and like yeah. Anyone else I feel like would have brought some emotion into it and gotten into kind of like a potentially like a shouting match, or it would have been like murky as to what they
Mm.
were doing, or but Laura literally was like a lot of people have expressed a dislike of you. And
You,
just dismantled this poor dude. And he just had to sit there and take it for like
he
a
was like,
minute. You're
I
like,
don't think
oh,
that's fair, but like, eat a dick, son.
dude, it was good, man. Yeah. And just him kind of justifying like, well, plenty of stuff goes bankrupt. Like every company goes bankrupt on a long enough time horizon. It's like, yeah, dude, that's not the play here. And calling himself the Lord, the Lloyd, ex Goldman CEO of
Yeah,
crypto.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit. It was just all silly business. And
Wyfook
just watching
says, I
him,
think I'm still staking Luna Classic.
that's fucking sick. Yeah, to round that out, that stream, Kyle reminded me of like a little kid who'd had too many lollies and was on like he was just trying to make all these little quips and be like and make all these little things, and I was just like, dude, someone put this guy to bed. He's up past his bedtime. That's enough. It's getting a little late. Do we? You said something about Eclipse,
Yeah,
which
so
is like the airdrop that I'm most excited for. And do I need to be shitting my pants about that now? What's the go?
so earlier this week, so Eclipse, if people don't know, is the Solana virtual machine layer 2 that's due to come out on Ethereum. So it's like the Solana style parallel tech as a L2, but uses ETH as like the native asset, and then like posts its data back to ETH. So pretty exciting from a tech perspective, because if you can get like the same Solana experience but using ETH, that'll be pretty interesting. Anyway, that's the protocol, but the lead on that, there was a rumor that came out like earlier in the week that he sold his tokens, or like a large portion of his share. And I can't remember the dude's name, so if anyone can remind me, please let me know. But he made a post basically saying, yes, the rumor is true. I sold my tokens to some investors, But they're like locked tokens, right? So I sold a percentage of the company out because in following the crypto ethos,
Oh
I
dear.
wanted to decentralize the ownership of of my holdings, and I took those. I took a portion of the sale, and I gave it to the team. So, which is, maybe nice. He sold a little bit of his stake in the company, and then rewarded his team before they've had a token generation event, which is cool because a lot of the team's probably heavily relying on that, provided he's done that. But I think there was also a rumor in which he did a lot of coke with that money,
Oh,
like copious amounts of coke, and there was a bit of like back and forth, and he's like, "No, I did not do that." But yeah, it's an interesting thing. You probably don't see too much. It probably happens, but like you just don't hear about it. Which is the founders making early sales on their stake in the company, but like because this shit leaked, it made for a little bit of drama on the timeline. But I guess it does sort of beg the question, like, what does that do to the coin's valuation? Like now that when it does sort of eventually have its like TGE event, and like, does that mean that it makes people less likely to want to invest? But like, given its locked tokens, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I just love the whole comment around the I'm decentralizing the token. It's like
that's not what you want to see on the timeline. It's like I'm decentralizing the supply. It's like, oh, fuck, okay.
like, I feel like that's a real like degen Spartan thing. Like,
Literally.
I'm not selling my tokens, I'm decentralizing them.
Don't worry, guys. I'm just decentralizing the supply. Just chill. It's like, ah, fuck, bro. Don't say it like that, please, man.
I
I just want to get that airdrop before
Yeah.
you decentralize the supply.
Yeah, when
Oh.
you go on pump.fun and you buy up like 30% of the token, and then it like goes to the pool, and then you say, sorry guys, I'm just decentralizing my supply here. And it's
Steady,
like,
lads. Decentralizing the supply.
oh my god. But yeah,
Oh,
it's a
bro.
little bit interesting.
What's the
I'm
founder? Like, who's the founder? I'm trying to find it on Twitter, and I have no idea.
trying
Like, it's
to think.
is it Neil Salami, ideas guy? .eth?
Maybe,
He's
yeah.
there's a bunch of other. I'm just looking at the people that the Eclipse page
Neil
follows.
Salami. That's the guy.
Cool.
Let me find his post.
No, I did not do a lot of cocaine. Haha. Wouldn't do that with lots of money that I just earned. Haha.
Can you imagine? He's like, "Hey man, I just sold some magic internet money and got a lot of money. Should we go do cocaine on
Tomorrow he just
Tuesday?"
posts 8 figs for an 8 ball. Let's fucking go. And you're like, oh dear.
You're supposed to be the chain.
He was supposed to be it. That's funny. But yeah, no. Oh yeah, here we go. I pulled it up. Okay. Let me know if you can see that.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So he was like, want to address a false rumor that I've sold 8 figures secondary. As part of our last round, the choice to sell some secondary under 8 figures was made to limit insider ownership of the network in line with crypto's ideals, and the decision was made with the consent of required investors. Most importantly, the majority of net proceeds from reducing my personal ownership were then distributed to the rest of the Eclipse team as a thank you, given we are all dedicating our lives to this effort. Blah, blah, blah. The time is now to bring SVM to Ethereum, yada, yada. And then Nele was like, can you clarify the rumors that you spent most of the last raise you cashed out on cocaine? Serious question, probably worth addressing for the community. Fucking Chad. Of course, this is completely false. Blah, blah, blah. It's like you should break this down into quantifiable metrics to realize how absurd this rumor is. Don't even think 3 Mike Tysons in their prime could handle that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Anyone know where
tokens.
the cocaine rumor came from? Was that purely just like one of those things that
I'm
showed
not
up on the
sure.
TL or?
No, I think it was
Okay.
like probably being spread. Like I think Nilay's Chad, so I think he
Yeah.
probably would have heard it from somewhere. But yeah, tokens are often necessary to decentralize the governance of for a protocol. It's generally considered typical for L2s to have a token. Um, so that was the decentralization part of it, and then fitting within the crypto ethos of the ideals. Um, so I thought that was pretty funny.
It reads more like a shit post than
It
like a.
it does.
It has that flavor of like, oh fuck. But I mean, fuck it. Like if you're actually selling your personal holdings to, pay out your team, then sick. We'll see how this holds up on airdrop day. Um, yeah.
Wyfook
What else
says,
do we want to?
don't know why you'd settle for Rust only when you can roll with Orbit and use EVM plus. Sanko chain built different. Yes, it is. Sanko layer
Yeah,
3. It'll be good.
yeah. I'm
Cheap
really keen to
fees,
see
quick finality.
that's that's coming soon as well.
Yeah, very soon.
Oof.
Very soon.
Oof.
Maybe a little gaming action coming soon too. Who knows?
Oof. Yeah, I'm excited. Keen to see what this airdrop, holds for people. I feel like there's going to be a lot of, consistent streamers that are going to get paid out
Yeah,
very well on this one.
yeah, for sure.
Especially
So
on release of Sanko Chain. I
good
am keen to see
project.
where this moves price. Like we ran up
I
to
still think
like
it's like super undervalued for like like the most like bearish thing you can do in this space is actually have a good product.
yep,
Like that's actually doing some shit, and then like the most bullish thing is like having a shit product that doesn't do anything yet. I feel like
literally. This is the expected outcome of like, well, we're betting on the future of it. Well, it's like, yeah.
also
No,
can
this
I
is
just
going to
make
be
comment that like since we started this stream the whole market started nuking.
that's
Like
good.
literally like I'll just pull up like the Lido chart for example. We started at like 7:30. It's just been down only ever since.
Oh shit. Well, that's what you get for investing in Lido. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, righto.
That's got to be one of the most stiff trades to have ever taken.
Oh, please don't
Like,
That's
remind me.
didn't you get rid of some Lido for something else earlier? Did you buy back in 1L?
I hold on. I was just getting another beer.
Hey,
I
fuck yeah.
I sold half my Lido for DMT or something like back in December. Um, can't remember what I sold it for, but I still have half my Lido bag, which is worth like fuck all, like in comparison to like the rest of my bags. But yeah, it's been the
Mhm.
only reason I didn't sell the rest of it was like simply because I didn't have any ETH on that wallet anymore, and yeah, so I've just kind of held it. But in saying that, I actually think there's a little bit of a chart chill right now. Um, it's a really sexy looking chart because we've had this sort of like weekly range for a year, 2 years now, like since August 22. And we sort of like played around in this range for a long time. And then last week we looked like we were breaking back into the range, and then we closed like on support. And like today's move, apart from the last fucking 2 hours or whatever it was, has looked great. So I think it's probably one of those coins that's like had a really tough time for a long time, but and as a result, it's been under allocated. Um, and I'm quite bullish on it again, to be honest. I definitely think I'm gonna get rid of some of these sell targets from like 2 years ago, because like that was the upside. Like I definitely think this is probably more of a $50 coin at some point. But yeah, I'm quite bullish on this chart at the moment. I think this is gonna surprise a lot of people in the next few weeks or months, probably longer term time frame. But yeah, any jump coin looks like this. Jito's the same. Cheeto's got the same fucking bullshit PA.
Oh,
If you look in like any sort of lower time frame, it's just like disgusting.
that is a reprehensible like thing to trade.
Yeah, it's just like
What,
slow grind up, but like these, like look at it,
vicious,
brutal. Like look at that, look at that.
Like no entry on that apart from like literally.
It's a 30% fucking move from the upside to the downside on in like a few
thank
hours.
you.
It's fucked. It's absolutely cooked. But no, it's one of those like buy, hold, and just like go into a coma for a few years coins, especially if the ETF happens.
Yeah.
And like the longer the accumulation range, like the bigger the breakout. And because this thing's just been like in this range since like August 2022. Like I just think this thing like fucking runs. Yeah. I think it runs hard, but it's going to take some time to play out.
Yep.
But yeah. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Do we have
Swiss?
Anything else you were going to say? Swiss?
Did you want to chat Doginals at all, Swiss?
I fear if I do, the market will tank, so we could probably save that for another time.
Let's save it for another one. Honestly, I think it's a pretty good fucking. I'm getting a little sleepy.
Yeah, it's a little bit late for you guys.
Yeah, it's 10:30. That's where I'm at.
Rough. No, but no, it was a good chat, boys.
Old man.
Good chat.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Appreciate the streamers tuning in. And for those that don't know, there is some really sick merch. What's the fucking website, please, before I shill it?
NGMI store.xyz.
Store.xyz.
You got a .xyz.
Yeah, dude.
So
moving up in the world.
This hat,
yeah,
I've been wearing this hat like fucking every day. This particular one. It's sick. The hat stays on. Great
hat stays
merch.
on.
And this one was my previous go-to, the 3 Hours Capital one. But yeah, some great merch here by the homie Tom.
Hey.
I'm just shilling it for him because he won't shill it for himself. So if you guys,
I got to get better at shilling my own shit. No, appreciate that, Wonel.
But quality of the actual stuff is like really good, especially this hat stays on hat. Fucking love it.
Hat stays on hat like surprised me in terms of like how solid it was. I'm working on getting inventory over to Oz, but it's taking a very long time. So I'm just hoping by the time that it's all set up, WIF is at like $30 or something, and everyone can just buy an infinite supply of WIF hats. I wasn't
sharing the screen. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. Hey,
there it is. Yeah. There it is. Hat stays on. ngmistore.xyz. Please check it out. It's definitely some good shit. We don't shill too much on here, so when we do shill, please, thank you.
Please pay attention. This is financial advice. Buy a hat. There you go.
No, very good. Right. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thanks to you boys. It was good chats. Probably went a little bit deep on some shit, but it was good.
No, it's fantastic. We need more of it. And we're going to aim to get some more guests on in the coming weeks. Bump up the consistency of streams. I think we need a tiny bit more.
We need Bala. Yeah, let's get consistency going. I'd love to get Bala on. Smoothie. Who else?
I think a Sasano pod would be fucking dope.
I think Sasano versus like Swiss would be sick. me, Sasano, and Swiss.
Just
the soul nerd, the
7-hour long podcast. And it's like, well, no. Have we thought about blah 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 blah? I think it'd be fucking sick, dude.
Be the fucking biggest nerd off.
Yeah, I really do want to get. There's a lot of people I want to get on. I'd love to get Block Grays on, but he's spoken about like he doesn't want to voice docs yet until he's like wound down positions and shit. And I'm like, very fair.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's many fucking good people that need to get.
Yeah. And then next episode we're going to do some special shilling from Swiss on Doginals and the whole Doge ecosystem. We need to explore that.
Doge to $1. Let's go.
I mean, they could just go watch my I can't remember what episode it was. I talked on it. in like one of the previous episodes.
No, we need a live demonstration of like which wallet you get. How do you do transactions? Like we need to actually teach these people how to do anything outside of fucking MetaMask and Phantom.
Yep.
I think we need viewers. I think I'd also send them back to the Stone Age with showing them how to do that sort of stuff.
And you just have to wait 45 minutes for a transaction to go through. But apart from that, it's the future of France.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do, Swiss? What we'll do is because I haven't set anything up for it yet, then we'll do a live demonstration of me setting it up and putting some money in it, and we'll buy some Doginals shit.
This is great. Let's do it.
Do some educational pods. That'd be good.
Good place to wrap it up.
Good night.